What's up, guys? Hank with RotoCityTech. So the new radiator is a Mishimoto all aluminum radiator, and should help with some of the cooling stuff because it tends to run a little hot sometimes. So we've got a new Mishimoto radiator to throw in, which is going to be awesome. And then lastly, we have a IL Motorsports coolant reroute kit. Like I said, these Miatas tend to run a little hot because of the way the coolant is coming out and into the motor. So you get one of these reroute kits and it reroutes the coolant from the front of the engine to the back. We are going to work on that today and take you along with us. So I'm going to actually start with draining the coolant. I'm just going to take off my cap. And then there's a little drain plug underneath. You can kind of see it. There's a hole right there. So that's your drain plug for your radiator. What I think I'm going to start doing while that's finishing draining, I'm going to go ahead and unhook these here. Probably take off this line here just for accessibility to get out my fans, my radiator, and get some of this cleared out of the way so we can start putting in the new stuff. So I'm just going to set the camera off a little bit to the side and we'll go from there.
Close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't want to waste what's left.
Alright, so next we've got that removed. And so I need to remove this hose here. This is that lower radiator hose I was talking about. So squeeze off these and we'll be good to go. And then I think I can unbolt. Here's one here, there's one on the other side. And I think this whole assembly can pretty much come out. We'll be ready to replace it with the new one. Sometimes these hoses need a little persuasion. This one was pretty old and kind of hard. So I just got a little razor and cut a slit and I was able to slide it off. Go over here and put the cap on because I got a new one that came with a new radiator. And the things, what we need to do with this one is take the fans. So we need to take both these fans off, and it's easy enough. There's just 1, 2, 4, looks like 10mm bolts, and that'll come off fairly easy.
The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't want to waste what's left.
So I've got my new one laid out. Got my fans ready. And you have to remember that you've got to take these little mounts here, right here, here, and here off and put them on there. So if you notice, these have little pins here. You just got to pop those off. but don't lose them like I just did. Oh, I found it. And that popped right out. These, obviously, I'm gonna mess with these ones a little bit. I'll move the camera back. Okay, figured it out. These, you have to first pop out this metal part. And then these just slide out. Just like that. Now we'll get the last.
And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll.
We have a new radiator with our fans. So, I think what we'll go do is work on installing the other parts, because those are the pain. Alright, so next we have to take out all these plugs. They just pop out. I'm going to remove my coil pack, which is this right here. Right now I only have a bolt here and this bolt here that are holding it in. There's one on the back, but I just leave it out. Alright, so it looks like I don't have to remove that cast, which is good. So I've got this piece here, and it's going to actually go, if you see where that green deal is plugged in, right here, I've got to remove this heater hose and this right here. Pull that out and replace it with this, sitting just like with that orientation. So that's what I'm going to work on. I'm going to remove that heater hose so I can gain access and undo that fitting. Work was for. But I got it without removing the cast, so that's good. Alright, so I had to make a little tool to clean the gasket. This is the gasket that came off the back of the engine, and I just bent a screwdriver so I could get in there and scrape. So make sure you get it good. I got a little sandpaper and cleaned it real good. We're going to work on trying to install the reroute system. So here's a couple pieces here. This is what's going to connect in the back. And the thermostat, instead of being up here where it is stock, it's going to be in here. So I'm going to put this together before I bolt it on, so I don't have to worry about that. And we'll take the thermostat out. I'm just going to reuse it because it's pretty new on this one. So we're going to work on doing that. It came with these studs that we're going to put in here. I'm going to put some thread sealant on them. Put them in just like that with the thermostat in there. So what I did here is I just used these two nuts that were supplied and I tightened them together, and then you can tighten that stud all the way into the housing. And this kit came with a cap that you put on top of here, and a gasket, and all I got to do is take out this and put it on the cap so that I can still read the temperature of the car. I'm going to clean off the top of my little housing as well. I'll give you a little look. So you'll notice top of this housing here, you just want to make sure that's nice and smooth. Just going to use a little paper towel to soak up some of this coolant that was in here. Got a little dirt in there. So just soak that up. Make sure it won't contaminate your system very bad. Pretty simple.
Finding life along the way.
And then plug your sensor back in. Sweet. So now we have the old thermostat. Well, still pretty new thermostat. I replaced it not long ago. Make sure it still looks good. And it is going to get sandwiched in between here. Just like so. So now, once we get this put on there, all we got to do is hook up our hose over here, get the new radiator in. We should be good to go. Well, it's the next day. It's a little chilly, but I didn't get as much done as I thought. We ended up going out and eating and stuff. So, I'm going to continue on here. Got a few clearance issues that I'm having to work out. But we'll see if I can't get those worked out, and then I'll tell you what happened. So after a lot of finagling, lots of time, basically, it's hard to see, but that thick black hose right there is the hose I ran. And it goes back into there where you can see right there that silver with the kind of pink stripe. That's where the thermostat is now. There is this little guard. I don't know where I put it. It's a little bitty, this little guard here that you're supposed to mount on the side, but my fuel lines are in the way, and the way I routed the hose, it's not touching anything that'll hurt it. So I'm just not going to run that little guide. But now I'm going to put the radiator in and get it all hooked back up.
Melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest.
Took a little finesse and a little bit of bending brackets to make it work. But we got it in, and it looks sweet. So I had to go buy some hose clamps. These are just the ratchet kind, because the stock ones that just squeeze, couldn't get them around the hose of the new lower radiator hose. So did these and tightened them up, and now I'm just getting everything else put back together. Right now I'm putting back on the coil pack back here. Just these two 12mm bolts, and we'll get that put back on, and then we can get the spark plugs put on, and then fill it back up with coolant. So we're getting close to startup. Just want to make sure everything's buttoned down. So what I ended up doing, just so I could remember rather quickly, was I numbered each of these wires with the corresponding number on my coil pack, and I just numbered it for my sake, starting with 1 closest to me when I'm working on it, 1, 2, 3, 4, just to make it easier for me when I was setting it up. So like this one says 4, so I know it's going to be back here, and I wrote 4 on this one here.
Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on.
Boy, I think that's everything. Got everything buttoned up. Don't forget about those brackets underneath the car. There was 2 brackets holding the air conditioning lines to the radiator. So when I took them off, I remember pointing them out. Make sure you bolt those back up. Now it's time to fill it up.
We'll go.
So I know this one takes about, they say the capacity is about 1.5 gallons. So far that's 1 gallon in. I'm going to start it and back it up, because it's best if you get the front end elevated a little bit, leave the cap off and leave it running. When it comes up to temp, that'll open up that thermostat, suck it all in the engine. You can top off. I may go ahead and top off a little bit right here before we start it though.
Through the wastelands, through the highways.
Everything's looking good so far, and I'll try to get the system purged and we'll come back when it's complete. So, as you can hear, maybe not, but she is running, and here it is out in the wild finally. I did not end up installing those little rubber bushings on the brake fluid reservoir. I didn't want to end up breaking it. It seemed pretty brittle. I don't have a replacement, and this is my only car right now, so I did not want to do anything to it. But I'll pop open the hood real quick and we'll take a look at everything under there and make sure that we've got no leaks. And it looks like a little puddle. I think that's just, I had overfilled it a minute ago. And I think that's just coming off. So there is the new Mishimoto radiator. And then the coolant reroute kit goes here and down all the way back here and hooks the thermostat. That's going to be a pain to get to, but you shouldn't have to very often. And then it just caps off this right here. That's where the thermostat was. Just made it run pretty hot. So everything looks pretty good. So we're going to go give it a test drive. So, thanks for watching. Hopefully this video came out okay. But, anyways, until next time, see y'all.